All right, we're going to go ahead and call to order the Morgan County Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for February 23rd, 2026. We do have a quorum this evening with all 5 members present. This time I'll ask Mr. Rumbaugh to lead all of us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please stand with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rumbaugh. Next item on the agenda this evening is election of officers, which we do annually. We didn't have a meeting in January because of the snow, so we're going to do that now. We're electing the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary for the board for 2026. Do I have a motion for any candidates, please?
I would like to move that we replace the officers that we had last year.
All right, and that would be with?
Mr. Chaplow as chairman, me as vice chair, and Mr. Maxwell as secretary.
Okay, do I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is approved. Minutes to our meeting, last meeting, which would have been December 2025, were sent out to us in advance of the meeting this evening. Were there any changes, corrections, additions, or deletions that need to be made to the minutes? Open for a motion to approve the minutes.
I say we approve the minutes. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion and second. All in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the minutes are approved. Also, a copy of the agenda was sent out to us in advance of the meeting as well as posted here. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening?
The only thing I would note is that last month you would have had to accommodate continuance for item C. So if you could just please note that for the record.
I'm sorry, for which item?
Item D 2602, John Larison, on behalf of Van Ruy.
Okay, are they going to be here this evening?
It's being continued to March.
Oh, okay, they're asking for a continuance, okay. All right. Any other changes, corrections, additions, deletions to the agenda?
I'll move that we approve the agenda.
Thank you. I have a second to that? Thank you. All in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Thank you. At this time, we'll ask Mr. Peden, who is the board's attorney, to swear in all those that are going to be speaking this evening. Thank you, Mr. Peden. All right, for those of you who may not have been to one of our meetings before, I'll go over a couple of things on what we do here and how we do it. So we're going to call up each application one at a time. We ask the applicant, and we'll call you out by name, to please come up to the podium, speak into the microphone, and always start out, whether you're the applicant, an interested party, someone in support of the application, or in opposition to the application, to start out by giving us your name and address. If you're the applicant, please go into good detail, explain to the board what it is you want to do and why we should approve your request. If you're supporting it, please tell us why you're supporting the application. If you're opposed to it, please tell us why you're opposed. If you're an interested party, you can still come up to the microphone and speak of what you're interested in. Excuse me. What doesn't happen, and I don't have a gavel, but I'll call you out and knock on the counter here. It's all right, I don't need it. is we don't ask questions to anybody. You can make statements, you can ask a question. The board isn't here to really answer questions. We're here to hear the applicant and everyone else's testimony. And then at the end of all of that, we'll call for a motion to either approve or to deny, and then we'll vote on that. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much. Our first item on the agenda this evening is public hearing for use variance petition U-25-04. Jay Hurlis is requesting a use variance to allow a self-storage facility to be established in the I-69 Corridor Overlay District. The property is located at 3960 South London Drive in Washington Township and is zoned Ag and I-69-0. For this application, I am going to recuse myself. Mr. Hurlis was my former employer. I retired from his business in December, but I still feel it's appropriate that I not be voting in this matter. So I'm going to step out of the room for the hearing and turn over the meeting to Mr. Rumbaugh to conduct this application request. Thank you, Mr. Rumbaugh.
Thank you. Mr. Hurlis, would you like to step forward, please?
How we doing? My name is Jay Hurlis, 4356 Raintree Boulevard, Greenwood, Indiana, 46143. We are petitioning for self-storage off of London Road. I have a couple things. I believe you guys have some things already, but I have a couple items I'd like to add. Do I have permission to bring that up to y'all?
Explain what you're going to do and why you think we ought to vote for it.
Yeah, so we are looking to add boat and RV storage on a 100-acre parcel, but we are only looking to actually utilize about 20 acres of that parcel. It's a boat and RV storage facility. Is going to be professionally designed and constructed, adequate but not excessive security lighting. The property will be enclosed by a 6-foot tall security fence with a digital keypad entry, automatic gate. The units will be accessed with individual overhead garage doors. Access is available 24 hours by secured access gate and will be monitored by camera. The proposed storage facility will in no way be injurious or create harmful noise and pollution. Traffic will be emitted from the storage facility. The storage facility buildings will be professionally designed and constructed, and the buildings will be consistent with other accessory structures in the immediate area. The facility will generate very little additional traffic noise and congestion. It will generate no toxic substance and will not be used as a salvage operation. The property's location within the I-69 corridor overlay creates a condition peculiar to this parcel. While it is zoned agriculture and surrounded by farmland, it is directly influenced by the interstate access and corridor development patterns that do not affect typical agriculture tracts elsewhere in the county. This unique corridor exposure gives the property a transitional character and makes it particularly suited for low-intensity, corridor-oriented uses such as boat and RV storage. The need for the variance arises from this specific locational characteristic, which is unique to properties within the overlay and not common to agricultural land generally. I might state I'm reading the findings of fact. 2.4, the hardship arises from the property's unique location from the I-69 corridor overlay. While currently zoned agriculture and surrounded by farmland, the parcel is directly influenced by interstate access and corridor development pressures. Its size, location, and exposure to the corridor make it transitional in character, less suited for long-term standalone agriculture use. There's very little of the land is actually suited for farm operations. So strict application of the agriculture zoning limits the property to use that do not reasonably reflect its location within a designated growth corridor. The proposed boat and RV storage use is low intensity, generates minimal traffic, and is compatible with surrounding agriculture land while allowing the majority of the 100 acres to remain undeveloped. Without the variance, a portion of the property that is uniquely positioned for low-impact corridor-oriented use would be restricted to a less practical use, constituting an unnecessary hardship based on the land-specific location and characteristics. The proposed boat and RV storage use does not substantially interfere with the Morgan County Comprehensive Plan because it represents low-intensity controlled development within the I-69 corridor overlay. Additionally, the project supports economic diversification and corridor-appropriate development without introducing residential density or high-impact commercial activity. The development aligns with all 7 comprehensive plan goals. Specifically, I got to know the comprehensive plan pretty well, and just a few of the goals that stuck out to me. One of them was further advanced quality of life improvements in the county. The comp plan specifically has goals in which to provide more recreation leveraging the White River, as well as provide more camping and lodging developments, as well as one of the other goals was increase housing diversity and the options in the county. I do believe this will allow developers can advertise nearby storage for RV and boat storage facility, which will support local housing, as many HOAs do not allow you to or inhibit on-site storage, and which would deter potential home buyers that are in the recreational space. A lot of people are in the boating and RV camping space, and it is a growing need of where they can store these items, not only to protect the asset, but what's safe for the community, rather than parking them on the street or in a driveway where people can't see or become a traffic hazard. Another one that stuck out to me, a goal for the comp plan, was support appropriate and quality development in Morgan County. Compared to retail or industrial projects, RV and boat storage generates low traffic volume, minimal noise, and limited strain on public services, aligning with orderly growth objectives. So these are indoor storage facilities for recreational items that don't get used very often. As much as it pains me to say, a lot of people don't get to spend too much time either in their RV or camper or out on their boat because they're busy or weather prohibits living in the Midwest. So we have other facilities in other counties, and they just aren't visited very often. Sometimes people put their camper or their boat away, and some years they never even get them out. And I have an updated findings of facts where I have rewrote 2.3 through 2.5, and then I also have photos of another facility that we just finished that I'd like to share with you. Could I bring those up?
Gentlemen, any questions?
He wants to give us a handout. You bring it up.
Okay.
There are more photos of another. So in the packet, you'll see I've included now 2 properties that we have for RV and boat storage. The one that I just handed you, we actually just finished last month. And And then there was, in the original packet, there's photos of another one that we've had for several years. Additionally, in the packet, you'll see there's some photos taken from I-69 that show that there's, vegetation and just trees, ag, that really covers that area pretty well. I truly think that this is going to be, if someone's driving by, they're not going to think anything other than what, is typically seen now in our farming communities. It's the similar buildings that our farmers in this community and other communities where we also do business that they have on their property. And that's what I got open for questions from all of you.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't believe so.
Gentlemen, any questions? Ladies? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I guess the only other thing I would add is, again, I've said it, but the new findings of facts are updated 2.3 to 2.5. So from the original packet, I just wanted to really point that out. So thank you.
Thank you. We have also here our Adkins. Thank you. Wish to speak? Thank you. Monty, wish to speak? Thank you. Mr. Marshall? He's down here in the list. Doug? Thank you. We have nobody else in support of the petition. You have no further questions, gentlemen, as of right now? All right. We had the finding of facts that were sent to us, and we have these additional finding of facts that not, from having read the other finding of facts, not that much difference. Let me read here. Under his description of the request, I can't hear you.
You have to close the public hearing.
Yes, okay. I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and go into a public meeting. Under the finding of facts, 2.1 that we received initially is the proposed storage facility will in no way be injurious to create harmful noise, pollution, traffic will be emitted from the storage facility. Under 2.2, the storage facility buildings will be professionally designed and constructed, and the buildings will be consistent with other accessory structures in the immediate area. The facility will generate very little additional traffic noise and congestion, will generate no toxic substance, it will not be used as a salvage operation. Under 2.3, the I-69 overlay, as specified in the Morgan County Unified Development Ordinance, requires the approval of a zoning use variance to allow a storage facility in this location. 2.4, the area of the Morgan County has historically and currently allowed commercial businesses such as retail, boat sales operations, golf driving ranges. Current zoning allows for this nature of the operation to exist only with a variance. And under 2.5, the comprehensive plan was written to be a guideline for planning and zoning. The storage facility is a low-impact use of the land with very low to no impact on the area. Similar sized and designated buildings already exist in the area in the form of farm operations. There is no question from the Health Department. The surveyor has no restrictions other than moving soil. The county engineer says it's not applicable. The petitioner recently acquired this property in August of 2025. The subject property in previous had been a single-family home up until 2014 when the house was removed. There are staff recommendations. Finding of fact number one, ask if the use will be injurious to the public health and general welfare of the community. Its proposed self-storage facility would not generate risk to the public health or general welfare. Finding two, ask if the property values will be adversely impacted by allowing this use at this location. Due to the limited amount of residential use near this property, it is unlikely this use should negatively affect adjacent property values. Finding three, ask what particular condition the property creates a need for this variance. The property is located in the I-69 overlay district, which specifically prohibits certain uses of deemed undesirable and incompatible for development adjacent to the newly constructed corridor. It is this overlay district that the petitioner has identified as a particular condition, creating the need for this variance. Finding 2.4, ask for the necessary hardship that occurs in this variance is not allowed. The petitioner purchased this property prior to receiving approval for the prohibited use, so any hardship would be self-imposed. Finding of fact 2.5, wants to ensure that the requested use is not in conflict with the county's comp plan. The entire I-69 corridor from one end of this county to the other is governed by the overlay district. Extensive time and attention were spent identifying the uses and the standards that would be applicable to the development along this corridor, as well as those that would not. Self-storage facilities, along with dozens of other uses, were expressly prohibited along the corridor, allowing it would be counterproductive to the goals of the county's comp plan and intended use of the Unified Development Order. Because of this use was expressly prohibited along the I-69 corridor, and the petition has not satisfied findings, facts 2.3, 2.24, or 2.5, staff does not recommend the approval of the self-storage use on the I-69 corridor. So that's what we have from our staff. There are certain things that are eliminated or not allowed that. And some of these are adult businesses or sexually oriented business, meat processing, self-storage facilities, truck stops in zones 1 and 2, industrial uses, bulk petroleum, explosives, salvage wrecking, institutional uses, landfills, residential uses, manufactured home parks, and manufactured home sales. Gentlemen, any questions? Ladies? Anything at all, Mr. Crone? Jason?
Discussion?
Discussion, yes.
On the findings of fact, I think 1 and 2, true. I agree with the staff, 3, 4, and 5 are false. Even if you wanted to question 3 and 4, I think 5, it's in black and white that there's to be no storage units on that overlay. It's specifically written there, so I'll be a no on this.
Ms. Fries, any thoughts?
I'm in agreement with that. There's specific, things that they prohibited and sorry.
You have to get right in the mic.
There were specific things that were identified that they were not to be developed and prohibited, and a storage unit is one of them.
Any thoughts, Gordon? No, that portion is over. Thank you very much, though. Any further discussion? Well, at this time, I would call for a motion.
When do I have a chance as an opposition to speak?
What?
When do I have a chance as someone who opposes this to speak?
Did you sign up?
Yes.
And did I call your name?
Dennis Maxwell, it's on the sheet.
I called it.
No, you said you didn't call Maxwell.
It's on the support.
Well, I did, but if you'd like to speak, step up, please.
We've closed it.
We've closed that meeting, actually. Let him stand up and speak if he says he didn't hear it. Huh? Yes. I've got it right down here that I called Doug
Is this
Maxwell.
on?
Speak.
Dennis Maxwell, 3940 Old State Road, 37 South. If you look at the map here, I'm directly across this one over here, directly across from where this is supposed to take place. As you zoom in there, right there is where my house is. The field over on the other side of the road is where this is supposed to be taking place. Okay. That's my house. This is where it's supposed to be going in. This land here is also, used to be part of Walter Smith, owned all this land at one time whenever I moved down there. And I've lost part of my property already to I-69, as well as, now having the access road coming past my house. This would, with this additional storage units, with the lighting and everything there, I've got enough lights now. I can see the lights off of the Liberty Church Road exit right now. And it's, not the way it, was. I know things are going to change, but going from agriculture to anything else is going to be just the first domino that's going to be, make it easier for someone else to say, well, you already allowed this, then why not something else? I looked, and by last count, there were like 15 or 16 storage units within the Martinsville area already. Do we really need, another one? I really don't know that there's a need for that.
Anything else?
Nope.
Yeah, I have you signed up in support of this petition.
I signed the sheet just as I came in
Well,
here.
let's not even go there then. Okay, anything else you want to say? Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, after hearing that, once again, I'll ask, do we have a motion to approve or disapprove?
I move that we deny petition U-25-04 with the findings of fact being false for 3, 4, and 5.
Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Mr. Crone raised his hand. At this time, I will ask all in favor of this motion, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Motion denied. Oh, well, that's life.
All right. Thank you, Bill. All right, so fair's been continued, right? Oh, I thought she said the fair was continued.
We're on B.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, our next item on the agenda is public hearing for Development Standard Petition D-26-01. Paul and Cynthia Farrer are requesting a development standard variance to increase the maximum living area for an accessory dwelling unit. The property is located at 1135 Pumpkin Vine Hill Road in Jefferson Township and is zoned for ag. For this application this evening, I have 3 folks signed up in support of the petition, including the applicant. So Paul Fair, you want to come up and speak to what you're requesting? My wife usually speaks for me, so I'm with you on that. All right, so who we got coming up? One at a time, just one at a time.
Our son, Michael.
Just one at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so are you Cindy? Okay, you want to tell us your name and address, please?
Cynthia Fair. We live at 159 West Mitchell Avenue, Martinsville.
Okay,
And
and,
we have property with our son up on Pumpkin Vine Hill Road, 1135. And want to sell our house and build a manufactured home up there on the property. And it only allowed us to have certain specifications for a house, and we would like to get a little bit more area for us, and we just want to be closer to our son in case our health isn't that great anymore, so we're getting older, so hate to say that, but so we would just like to get a little bit more square footage. I think it was 393 more square footage for a manufactured home. And we're going to put it in the area that the barn is at now, and we're tearing the barn down.
okay, anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, I just hope you approve it.
Okay, questions from the board members?
Is there a existing house on this property now?
Pardon?
Is there an existing house on this
Yes.
property now?
Yes, my son lives in the existing house now.
Okay, thank you.
It's, you can see that up there, and then the barn's down from it.
Any other questions from the board members? Thank you. All right, Michael, now's your turn.
How you doing? My name is Michael Fair. I live at 1135 Pumpkin Vine Hill Road. As again, my mom and dad are trying to move up there, move a house up there. They're buying a modular to put in there. And the barn is getting ready to go to a friend of mine, and it's going to be gone, so, you know, there'll be plenty of room to put a modular. And like she said, I live at the house on the left there, and then the barn's down there on the right.
Got that little pointer right there.
Okay.
Yeah, you can point at that, show us very clearly.
So I live right here, and the barn's right there, and that's where they want to put their modular. And there is a drive going down to the barn right now, but that barn will not be there. They're wanting to put the modular there. Thank you.
Hang on a minute, Michael. Any questions, any other questions from the board members?
I have none.
Sharon, the driveway that's in existence now, then?
There is a driveway, if you can zoom in a little bit. Right here is a paved driveway. And then they're going to have a drive going off of that right here, this drive.
Okay.
So that's going to be their drive, and then my drive is right here.
All right. How long have you lived there?
I've lived there for 6 years.
But you bought the property back in 2010?
My dad actually owns the property, and we rent from them right now. In 7 years, the property would be mine.
All right. All right, I don't have any other questions. Any other from the board?
I have none.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, and Paul, you're passing on your opportunity to speak, correct? Okay. All right. All right, I don't have anyone else signed up to speak on behalf of or in opposition to or as a concerned citizen for this application. For the description the applicant wrote, we want to install an accessory dwelling unit on our property at 1135 Pumpkin Vine Hill Road, but we would like to have a little more living area to accommodate future needs. We are requesting a variance for an additional 393 square feet of living space. The manufactured home will be installed in the same location as an existing barn that will be removed. For the findings of facts, under 2.1, the statement is made that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. And in support of that has written, the home we want to place on the property is a manufactured home with 1,188 square feet. It resembles the existing home on the property. Under 2.2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The applicant again indicates that's a true statement. To support that, writes, the floor plan of the home is included with the petition. It is 393 square feet larger than what would normally be permitted. We believe the extra square footage and the beauty of the new residence would improve everybody's property value around us. And lastly, under 2.3, the statement's made that the strict application of the terms of the ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. To support that, the applicant writes, the extra square footage will help us as we are getting older. We both have had joint replacements, and Paul has had a lung transplant. We will probably have mobility issues down the road, so the extra space will be needed. Also, we have a large family and everyone enjoys coming to Grandma's house. Under the technical reports from the Health Department notes that they have no objection to the proposed development standard variance. I don't see anything in here from the surveyor. For the staff report, they have written that they feel the petitioner has satisfied all three findings of facts, and staff is not opposed to the variance request to increase the AUD living area by 393 square feet. Discussion amongst the board?
Sounds logical to me.
We've done other things that were pretty similar to this. This one, there's plenty of room there. I don't think you would realize that's the same property with it going where that barn is, so I'd be in favor of this. I guess I would add, it looks like Mom and Dad might have a better yard, though, after this.
All right, any other discussion amongst the board? Barring none, open for a motion.
I would move we approve. Let me get this right, get my glasses off. Petition D-26-01, based on the finding of facts.
Do I have a second to that motion? I have a second from Susan. All in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is approved. Thank you very much. You don't have to stay, but you're more than welcome to. You're welcome. All right, our next item on the agenda this evening is public hearing for development standard petition D-26-02. John Larison on behalf of Van Roy Management and Mr. Parker. I understand that's the one that's being continued. They asked for continuance prior to the meeting. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing for a development standard petition, D-26-03, Richard Hasselberg. Is that right? Did I pronounce that right? Yes. Okay. Keith, make a note of that for the newspaper. That's a first time for me on that. Is requesting a development standard variance to increase the maximum living area for an accessory dwelling unit. The property is located at 1659 South Arthur Lane in Ray Township and is zoned for ag. For this application this evening, I have the applicant signed up to speak and no one in opposition nor as an interested party. So, Mr. Hasselberg, please come on forward, give us your name and address, tell us what you'd like to do and why the board should approve it.
My name is Richard Hasselberg. I live at 1659 South Arthur Lane, Paragon, Indiana.
Can you pull the mic a little closer and speak a little louder?
My name is Richard Hasselberg. I live at 1659 South Arthur Lane, Paragon, Indiana. I've been there for 10 years. Like my in-laws have suffered through some health problems recently. They live in Indianapolis. We'd like to bring them in closer so we can plan a future together and have them close by so we can care for them as they age. The variance is just for more space. We don't have a large home, and we're only permitted space for their home based on the size of our home. So we'd like it a little larger, so very similar to the previous people, so they'll, if they have mobility issues and space and be able to have guests.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
I don't believe it'll affect any of my neighbors. You can't see any neighbors from my house. You won't be able to see any neighbors from their home either. We have plenty of land.
Questions from the board?
Something we have normally allowed. There seems to be nothing in this area that petition to show us otherwise.
Maybe I got just a quick question here. You see that pointer laying on the podium? Can you show us where the additional dwelling is going to be placed?
Now if you could zoom in, please. Keep going, keep going. And then move up a little bit. This is my home here. Here's where we park. If you move up some more, keep going, okay. Right here is where their home's gonna go.
All right. So you'll have a separate driveway coming in off of Arthur Road to that residence?
No, just a parking area. It's the Arthur Lane is the driveway.
Okay.
So they'll just have a parking area like we have, just so they can pull in.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we have no one else to speak on behalf of this application or in reference to it this evening. For the description of the request, the applicant wrote, the additional living space is needed to accommodate aging parents with recent serious medical issues, including cancer treatment, cardiac events requiring proximity to family support, accessible circulation, flexibility for medical equipment, and potential in-home care. Planning for those needs now allows the property to be used safely and responsibly without creating future hardship. Under the findings of facts, section 2.1 makes the statement that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. To support that is written, approval of the requested variance will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The proposed accessory dwelling unit will be located on a large parcel with substantial separation from neighboring properties and will remain a residential family-occupied use. The request does not introduce commercial activity, increase density, or uses inconsistent with the surrounding area. Utilities will be reviewed and approved through the appropriate regulatory agencies, ensuring compliance with applicable health and safety standards. Under section 2.2, the statement is made that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The applicant again indicates a true statement is made there. And to support that is written, the proposed accessory dwelling will not adversely affect the use or value of adjacent properties. The structure will be located approximately 500 feet from the nearest neighboring residence and will not increase traffic, noise, or activity levels in the area. The parcel will remain under single ownership, will not be subdivided. An accessory dwelling is intended for immediate family use only. Due to the rural setting, distance from surrounding properties, and limited visibility, the character of the area will remain unchanged. Under 2.3, the statement is made that the strict application of the terms of the ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. To support that, they have written, the accessory dwelling is being constructed to accommodate aging parents following recent significant medical events, including cancer treatment and a heart attack, which necessitate, there we go. I don't know why I'm struggling with that. Relocation closer to family support. Limiting the accessory dwelling to the ordinance standard does not reasonably allow for safe interior circulation, accessibility considerations, medical equipment, or the potential need for in-home care. The requested variance allows for the property to be used safely and responsibly while remaining consistent with the rural character of the area. Health Department states they have no objections to the proposed development standard variance. And I don't see anything from the surveyor in this one. Staff's recommendation is that they feel the petitioner has satisfied all three findings of facts, and staff is not opposed to the variance request to increase the AUD living area by 680 square feet. And we are open for discussion on this application.
Once again, it sounds like a normal request that we've approved in the past.
Yeah, I pretty much would just repeat myself from the last one for the most part, but this one will be seen by almost no one, really. And it's a wide open area and hidden, and I don't think it's gonna make anybody mad being there, so I'd be for this.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I agree. This isn't an unusual request that we get. We just had one previous to that. There was something written into our codes that changed that, right? To allow the accessory dwelling unit, recognizing that the population is aging and some of us require some assistance. And it's nice when we can to be able to accommodate that. And I would be in favor of this as well. Any other discussion? Barring none, open for a motion.
I move that we approve the request made by Richard Hasselberg in petition D 26-03 for a development standard variance to allow an accessory dwelling unit to be constructed with an additional 680 square feet of the living area. The property is located at 1659 South Arthur Road in Ray Township, Morgan County, Indiana. This motion is made because the finding of the facts have been true.
Thank you. Have a motion to approve with no conditions. Do I have a second? Mr. Crone seconds. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Say aye.
Aye.
It is approved. You're welcome to stay, but you don't need to if you wouldn't like to. Good luck with that. Whose parents are moving in, by the way? Okay, all right. All right, our next application this evening is a public hearing for a use variance petition U-26-01. Matthew Stevens is requesting a use variance to allow a two-family dwelling to be constructed in an ag zone district. The property is located at 4488 West Big Hurricane Road in Jefferson Township and is zoned for ag. For this application this evening, I have one person signed up. That being the applicant, I have no one else signed up in opposition to or as an interested party. Mr. Stevens. Evening.
You know, it's rough being 5'17", which is 6'5". Here we go. Everybody hear me okay?
We can.
Okay. Matthew Stevens, Stephens. I reside at 4340 West Big Hurricane Road with my wife, Marcy, and all of our cows and dogs and cats and everybody else.
Go ahead. Tell us what you'd like to do
So,
in detail and
yes, I
tell us
will.
why we should approve it.
Sure, I will. I've been torn about this project for probably the last 3 or 4 years, actually. We had bought the farm back in '06. It's the oldest recorded homestead in Morgan County. The original home was built in 1828. And my in-laws, who have now passed, we had sold them the ground back in '07, and then we purchased it back when their health turned back, I think in 20 or 21. So I thought about dividing the property, but as a builder-developer, I have a hard time with just taking tracts and making them small and planting something on there. And I think that, God blessed me enough to buy the farm, and we need to invest in our children. We have 2 grandchildren now, and they're living in the city, and as we all know, the schools and things are just a little bit rough up there at times. So the Lord's blessed us financially, and we decided that we want to build a barn dominium as a double, and we want to gift that to them. So they're going to be taken care of. My grandchildren can be taken care of, and they can come across the creek and see us, come over to Poppy and Mimi's house. So we're looking to invest about $500,000 in the property itself. We're tree growers. We've planted 700 trees on that, I guess 10 or 11 acres there now. We've got another 600 that we planted over on our property. So we really keep the natural resources at heart. We got a lot of open springs on our property there. The building, it's the proposed building. Of course, it's only going to be the one structure, which won't impede any of the trees that we planted, because we had planned for this build, down the line, so we don't have to, we don't have to remove any trees that we've already planted there. So we're looking at about a 1,550 square foot aside, 2-story barn dominium double with there'll be we have a garage parking in the middle. There'll be one driveway coming in. We did go and get our soil test. We've been approved by the Board of Health. I don't think they've got any objectives on anything. I don't think Bobby has. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I mean, I could spill my heart out to you, though. It's just, I've been building my whole life, and I want to build something for our children, and I really just don't want to split the ground down, to do that. And I think the closer that we can keep our families, and the closer we're going to be able to keep God in our heart. And to me, that's really important to my wife and I, to keep them on that path, especially our grandchildren. I can answer any questions you have, brother. Whatever you got.
Appreciate that. Any questions from the board members?
The girls get along?
Yeah, actually they do, Yeah, and another thing too is that, our kids were 10-year 4-H members, so now we're gonna be able to have our grandkids, coming through that program. So we're pretty excited about that. But yeah, even if they don't get along, is it really gonna matter at that point?
I had daughters, I know that answer.
Oh yeah, they just love each other. It's just amazing how much they love each other, so. Yeah.
I have no questions.
Thank you.
Obviously. Any other questions from the board members? Are you building this yourself then?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, on my trades, yeah. I've got numerous crews. I've been building since I was 15. I've been in business for myself 30 years. More of a commercial contractor now, but we were home builders for years.
Is it going to look like what you submitted, the drawing from Rayber?
Oh, yeah. It'll exceed that. Yeah. Okay. We've got a lot. We just tore down 3 big historic barns. We'll be taking some of the beams from there and utilizing inside the home and all that. So it'll be beautiful. Yeah.
Good. All right. Any other questions from the board members? No? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.
You also. Again, we have no one else to speak on behalf of this application. This is a request for a use variance. In order for the board to grant this, we have to agree that the applicant meets 5 findings of facts on this. And under the applicant's description for the request, he has written, we propose to build a 2-story barn dominium, a home designed as a double unit, providing 3 bedrooms on each side. Each unit will include 1,550 each side for living, and 286 square feet of garage on each side. Attached garages will be located on the rear elevation. Exterior porches and overhangs will feature reclaimed wood siding for aesthetic character. The remaining exterior will be finished in ribbed vertical metal panels with matching trim and roofing. The lower portion of the front elevation will include stone with a stamped concrete sidewalk and powder-coated steel handrails. Under 2.1, the statement is made that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The applicant indicates that's a true statement and writes the design results in a smaller overall footprint while also contributing to an increase in the value of the surrounding properties. Under 2.2, the statement is made that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner Again, the applicant indicates that's a true statement. And to support that has written, over 700 trees have been planted on the property in the past 5 years. This investment, combined with the proposed dwelling, will further enhance the use, appearance, and long-term value of the property and neighboring parcels. Under section 2.3, the statement is made that the need arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved. Again, the applicant indicates that's a true statement and has written to support that constructing the home as a double unit requires a use variance. This configuration allows the project to maintain a more compact footprint, minimizing the overall land disturbance compared to separate structures. Under 2.4, the statement is made that the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which a variance is sought. Again, the applicant indicates that's a true statement. And to support that has written, we intend to maintain one driveway providing access to the rear of the home. This avoids the need for multiple driveways, preventing unnecessary disturbance to the existing tree farm and preserving the natural layout of the property. And lastly, under 2.5, the statement is made that the approval does not interfere substantially with the county's comprehensive plan. Again, the applicant indicates that's a true statement. And to support that is written, we share the county's commitment to agriculture and natural resource preservation. As noted in section 2.2, substantial improvements, including the planting of more than 700 trees, demonstrates efforts that meet or exceed expectations. The proposed home represents a modest structure on an approximately 11-acre parcel with minimal impact to the land. The health department states they have no objections. Do not see anything from the surveyor. Staff, in a nutshell, stated that they support the petitioner's request for a two-family residential use variance. So at this time, we are open for discussion on this application request. Any discussion?
Well, it's not a normal request, but it's certainly nothing unusual. And when you think about it, that you're going to have your family, like the other request, have indicated around, and I see no harm in granting this request at all.
Any other discussion? No. Well, we're hearing this because they're asking for two-family residents. And it sits on 11 acres. We're not looking to start an apartment complex or condo complex there. Looking at his proposed design, I would think it would fit in very well aesthetically with the community. Sounds like he's taken a lot of efforts to preserve the rural and forested area, or nature of the area. And I would support this application if a motion's made to approve it. Any other discussion? Barring none, we'll open for a motion.
I move that we approve petition U-26-01 with all findings of fact being found true.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve with no conditions. Is there a second? Susan seconds. All in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. It is approved. Thank you very much. Anybody need a break before we get into the next one? 5-minute break or anything?
Yeah, I'll take one.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we're going to use the official county watch, which is on my wrist. So we're going to be back in here at 7:45, 2. Thank you. We're outside.
Phones are live.
Thank you. All right, continuing on, under new business. This evening, our first item under new business is public hearing for use variance petition U-26-02. Justin Grounds is requesting a use variance to allow landscaping and lawn care business to continue to operate in an ag zone district. The property is located at 11503 North Rooker Road in Brown Township. And for this application this evening, I have Mr. Grounds signed up, obviously in support. I have 2 folks signed up in opposition and 3 as interested parties to this application. So, Mr. Grounds, if you'd come up, give us your name and address, tell the board what it is you want to do in great detail and why we should approve your request, please.
Yeah, I'm Justin Grounds. I live at 9032 Timberwood Drive, Martinsville, Indiana, 46151, obviously. This is my grandmother's place at 11503 North Rooker Road, as seen there. That's where she lives at. My grandparents have lived, well, I know that this barn that is now my shop was built in 1964. I used to always hear my grandpa always made the joke, this is where country living ends. I never understood it. But years ago, growing up, this was all farm fields. He ran, at this little driveway here you see, he ran a business out of his residence as well. It was, he delivered fuel oil to residents for heating oil and agricultural use for diesel fuel. Anyway, as the reason why the barn was originally built, this used to be a sheep pasture, this used to be a sheep pasture, and I was a, you know, me and my sister's 11 years older than me, we knew it as, that was the sheep barn. You know, that we ran sheep here, and that's what it was until about 2003. My grandfather passed in 2006, and I moved my business here in 2009 with a, my grandma allowing me to do that. Obviously, as time has went on, my business has grown, and this is what my grandma allows me to use, which is awesome. But no doubt, as time has went on, we have grown. I have tried very hard the last several years to try to find another place in Mooresville that I can run my business out of. However, I challenge anyone in this room to do the same. Try to find a place that you can park the, this is the equipment, and these are employees. As you can see, that we're even using that. It's non-existent. I've asked everyone that I mow for. I mow for several people that have commercial property, and for what we need, there is just nothing that truly exists in Mooresville. We could go to Indianapolis and find, property, more than likely, yes. However, my heart is in Mooresville. I've grown up here. I plan to own this place one day. It's in an irrevocable trust. I don't want this day to come, but when my grandmother passes, it will come for sale. It is my full intent to purchase this property, as this property means more to me than a lot. I've grown up here. I used to play baseball in this field, now it's a subdivision, which is fine. Going back, I now understand what my grandpa said when this is where country living ends. It's because, this is the town buffer. This is Morgan County. This is why you're dealing with me, is because I'm out of the town buffer. Where they live at is a town. This is county. So that's why you're stuck with me, is because I'm here, they're there in the town. They moved in, I say they, this is the person that has made the request, or the, whatever you want to call it, the opposition. They moved in 2019. They're worried about their home value going down because of this. Well, I don't know. I would challenge them to what they purchased their house for in 2019. Yes.
I'm going to interrupt you for a
Yep.
second, Mr. Grounds.
Yep.
Why don't you speak to us about what it is you
Yeah.
want to do and why we should approve it? And
Okay.
then they've
Yeah.
signed up to speak, let them come up
Yeah.
and say what they
Right. I'm trying to get all that out of the way.
may be against or oppose. What happens, Mr. Grounds, and I didn't get into this earlier,
Yep.
folks, is when there's opposition to an application, we give everybody a chance to speak. At the end of that, I'm going to call Mr. Grounds back up and give
Okay.
him the
I didn't realize
opportunity
that.
to address any concerns that the opposition or interested parties may have on this.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't realize I'd get a chance to, I was trying to get all this out of the way
No,
before.
I appreciate
you
it.
know.
I didn't explain that to begin with,
Yeah.
but that's the way it will work.
So obviously, in the course of time, my business has grown. I don't feel like that should be, you know, go against me, because I have successfully grown a lawn care business that provides to the town of Mooresville as well as the entire county. My grandmother, the reason why we have it all on this is what I'm allowed to use. After this has been brought up, she has graciously allowed me to, if it gets approved, that we can extend this stone out to here. It's 50 feet. That will help with the congestion and allow me more parking. We also included a little bit of stone in here to allow more parking. Now, that's based upon if we're even able to be approved. You know, there may be opposition as to a fence or something for sound. I myself, I have no problem doing whatever is asked of me to do. However, my grandmother does not want to look at a fence, and there's a power line right here. It would make sense that we would plant some trees here as a barrier. She would be okay with some trees. However, I don't think it's the best place to put trees, knowing that there's a power line there. So, you know, I'll wait for that time to come as to what I'm told to do. But I employ around 23 people. We meet every day. We start at 8 o'clock. With that being said, my mechanic is there as early as 7 o'clock in the morning, and usually around 7:30 is when the rest of us start showing up. We are gone all day until around 4 to 6 o'clock, depending on, you know, what the day's workload is. We do snow removal. So in the wintertime, if the snow is falling at 1 a.m., we may show up here at midnight. My guys know that when they come in, we shut the lights off. We get here, we can turn the lights back on, but we never point lights that way, at least on purpose, because we try to respect our neighbors. I think the big thing that changed this year, and this is maybe why I'm here today, is because I have a guy that works for me that wanted extra time. And for me to provide that, I allowed him to pressure wash our mowers every Sunday. And he would start, you know, around 9 o'clock and usually be done 1 to 2. Sometimes he'd start at noon, sometimes, you know, whatever. But for the most part, he didn't miss a Sunday with a pressure washer going. He would wash right here on this pad. So, you know, I'm gonna guess that's probably 50 yards to any closest home. And yes, you can hear it, but I don't see the difference of that as if any of these people was mowing their grass, doing pressure washing, whatever the case may be, they would still hear a motor run. Now, with that being said, I have no problem to not allow my guy to pressure wash on Sundays. It didn't help me really in any way other than it provided him a few more hours. And I try to never tell anyone no that they can't work, because it's hard to find people to work. I'm fortunate to find the amount of people that will work. So I definitely don't want to try to detour anyone from working. We do have all these trailers that are parked here, and we got like 7 trucks that stay there most of the time, and we have other trucks that come and go. With this, yes, we have a dumpster here. It gets dumped every Friday. We have fuel here. It gets brought in every Wednesday. We have a portalette here. It gets dumped every Thursday. So yes, there is, from Rooker Road, this is a stone road. This used to be asphalt, but we've covered up with stone because it's all crumbled. So the dust, when a big truck comes through on a very dry drought day, there will create a little bit of dust. But it's no more dust than when they go to harvest this field or even this field. I don't know if anybody ever seen beans be harvested, but I happened to be there this year when this was being harvested, and as the combine turned, all of our stuff got dusted with dust. Not a big deal. I expect it. It's agricultural, which is what it's zoned for, and I totally understand that. We try to do a very good job of keeping it maintained. This is probably one of the best looking yards in Morgan County. You can even see in this picture here, all the stripes and everything. It's very well fertilized from all the years of the sheep being there. I still have probably the greenest grass in Morgan County, thankfully, because of what the sheep provided for many years there. So, I really don't, I guess until I'm told what is opposed, I can answer those questions. But bottom line, this was 1960, built around the 60, 61. This barn came in 64. These came early 90s. I'm just trying to run a business, and a successful one at that. I want to stay here in Mooresville. Mooresville is near and dear to my heart. My kids go to Mooresville. That's, I want to work out of Mooresville. That's just bottom line. I guess whenever there's questions, I'll answer those. But maybe I'm missing something, I don't know. Never had to do one of these things before. But yeah, I want to stay here if I can. Like I said, I did because whenever, is there a way to show another picture or no? Of the, it would be the, it's the one where I drew in where the stone was going to go, just so that you guys can see that. Oh, it isn't, okay, so everybody has it, so okay. So that's really like the only thing that will change in the future until one day, hopefully I own it. And who knows, that may not be able to happen. But like I said, I would love to extend the stone here and extend the stone here. So hopefully move stuff back to where, it's not as clustered, because I'm doing a fairly large operation out of a small area, but it's the area that I'm allowed to use. And like I said, depending on what gets approved for me to stay there, I may not even be able to stay there, because the lady who lives here, she's set in her ways at 94 years old. So, I'm at her mercy, as well as your mercy. And I try to be a good neighbor. Had I known it was an issue, I would have told him to stop pressure washing on Sundays. But I'll answer more questions here in a little bit, so thank you.
Hang on just a second.
Yep.
Questions from the board?
When you originally built this building, did you have to go before Mooresville, any planning?
like I said before, it was built in 1964. I wasn't alive in
But
1964,
when it was a
sir.
business, did you have to go before to make it a business?
No. No,
Okay.
like I said, my grandfather, who passed away, he ran his business out of this same facility.
And you've had the business there since 2009?
I've been in business since 2002. I moved the business there in 2009.
And were you ever approached by the town of Mooresville when that was in the buffer about there being a problem with your business being there?
No, I was not.
Thank
And,
you.
yeah, like I said, I believe that buffer starts there, maybe, like at this line here, I believe. I don't know. That's what I was told. So.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I had.
Any other questions from board members?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right, I have two persons signed up in opposition to this petition, the first being Mike Polium. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, please, I'm sorry, come on up.
Okay. Hello, my name is Mike Poyam. I live at 1045 Pin Oak Drive. That's in the Rooker Trace addition, directly adjacent to Grounds Quality Lawn Care, located on Rooker Road. The property being subject to this use variance request U26-02. I oppose this request to allow a commercial contractor yard to operate on this agricultural parcel. The business activities include heavy equipment usage, dumpster, commercial vehicle storage, along with multiple various outside items stored, such as, but not limited to, wood pallets, landscaping stones, rocks, used tires, storage buildings, porta-pot, mulch, and various snow removal items. Operations occurring as early as midnight and activity as late as 11 p.m. The business activity occurs 7 days a week and sometimes 24 hours a day, which appears to have no parameters set on time. Mr. Grounds has recently acknowledged his company will be growing substantially in 2026 and actively seeking employees for his workforce. Because Rooker Trace immediately borders his property, these activities are directly experienced by neighbors and residents and substantially interfere with residential use and quiet enjoyment. This type of commercial contractor yard violates the noise and nuisance ordinance with the residential character of the surrounding area. The residents are subjected to various noises, dust, odors, and traffic activity from the operation of the company. Mr. Grounds chose to operate a commercial enterprise on an agricultural zoned property adjacent to homes. Granting the variance would ensure the neighboring residential property use value and introduce an industrial type use to an established neighborhood. For these reasons, the statutory criteria for a use variance are not met. I respectfully request denial. Should you require evidentiary information to substantiate my denial request, you can please advise me and I will have it. I have a Ring camera that is focused back of my house for people that would come around, but I have, I think, 56 events on my camera of times from everywhere from 3:45 a.m. in the morning of a trash truck coming in and dumping a dumpster. And if you're aware how loud a dumpster can be made, that's what you hear. Then the dogs go off, wakes us up, and if you wake up at nighttime, sometimes you can't go back to sleep, and that's what we get. Also, Mr. Grounds confirmed that he washes every Sunday. An individual goes out there and washes every Sunday, and if you've had somebody doing that, that's okay, I understand. But here's the thing is you have to listen to that when I live so very close. I live right well, wants to work. I live in this one right here. Now he's everything he said to you is true is about his equipment and everything, but each year we came back, there was always something more and more and more. Now, I'm talking about the noise and the things that go on that he may not know about, we can see from our deck because we sit out in the summertime and enjoy our deck. Things that happen is you can hear the people over there and they cuss like sailors, some of them. Some of them come out and when they're done with their jobs, they walk over to the cars, they open their doors, and I have seen this, my wife has seen this, they urinate on the side of the cars, even though Mr. Grounds has a potty around the side. Also, company trucks idling all morning. When they come in, sometimes at 7, sometimes earlier, those trucks can idle almost all morning until about 8:30 in the morning when they take off. If you've been out in summertime, when there's definite heat and humidity, that fumes stays in the area. It doesn't travel great distances or go up. Our house, a number of times, has had that smell of diesel in our house from the air intake of the outside air. Workers lighting firecrackers off in the morning or sometimes the evening. Workers get ready to leave the shop, will open their doors and do what I said as far as activities behind their cars. Activities from this business interferes with the peaceful enjoyment of my property within the neighborhood. And if it was your property and you had this business behind you and you had this interfere with your evening activities and morning activities, not only to say in the morning, it wakes us up because we generally don't try to get up before 8. And we're up sometimes as early as 6:30 when the young man's over there grinding on blades for lawnmowers. You can hear it at our house. Noise travels. It travels a distance. So with this, I'm asking to deny the request. I think the peaceful enjoyment at an older age is something that we treasure. I don't know Mr. Grounds. I've never met him. This is the first time I've seen him. But I know what his business is, and I know what his business is doing to the residential area that I live in. So I'm a little bit concerned that this business is not registered in the state of Indiana that I can find. So, or Delaware. So I will leave you with this. Thank you for giving me the time to be able to come up here and speak to you. I appreciate it, and God bless.
Hang on just a second.
Yes.
Questions from the board members? Mr. Pulliam?
How long have you lived at this address?
As Mr. Brown said, I lived there since 2019. I have went around and talked to my neighbors. Several who have been there, not several, I'd say 3 that I know of have lived there since the beginning of the neighborhood. And they said there has nothing been this bad since now. They said it is overwhelming in the evening times, and in the mornings you get woke up. So they said that this is as bad as it has been. And I'm just giving you the flat, what it is.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Did you have other questions? Okay. So you said you moved in 2019. When you moved in 2019 and you looked out your back window, was that business there then?
Yes, it was there. It was very small, and I'm saying very small.
Okay.
Very small.
But the ground care business was there in 2019, right?
Yes,
Okay. And do you understand what that ground is zoned for now?
agriculture,
Okay.
yes.
So you understand that with if that were used as agricultural ground, and I'm not trying to minimize your concerns by any means, but that could be an active farm, it could be a hog farm, he could run hogs right up against the fence. When you talk about noise and smell and dust and traffic and looking out your window and looking at stuff, I mean, we've got some beautiful farms in the county, and we've got some that aren't so beautiful. And if he ran this as agricultural, that all those things could exist and be right outside your back door.
That's true.
Again, I'm not trying to say I'm in favor of this. I just want to make sure that, I just had the question, are you aware what else could happen on that property if it wasn't,
That's true.
if it wasn't
but
being used for this?
I would not have bought that had it been a pig lot, a cow lot. I wouldn't have bought into that property. I bought that because of an opportunity that the house had been completely redone. And I was looking at a place I could go to in retirement and enjoy for the rest of my life. So
I understand.
I wouldn't have bought that if it had been a pig lot or a cow lot, no.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members? No? Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Kristen Smith. Evening.
My name is Kristen Smith. I live at 520 East Washington Street in Indianapolis. My father was just up here speaking. I'm here in support of him in his opposition to this petition. We used to come over every Sunday when my parents are in town. They do go to Florida. They call them snowbirds, as you know. They go to Florida to escape the cold weather because it's a little easier on their bodies down there. In the wintertime, it's hard because we don't get to see them as much. I'm afraid that, or I'm concerned rather, that with the activity that's behind their house, that it's going to drive them to move there permanently, and I won't have time to spend with my family anymore. The activities that he's speaking of are true. I've seen them for myself. I have asthma. I can't go outside sometimes when they're operating, and I'm not dogging on a business that's operating, but diesel fumes would not be present every single day during the summertime if it were a pig farm, if it were a cow farm, if there were still sheep there, but they're not. There's large equipment pieces there. There's a lot of things happening there on a regular basis, and even as a visitor at my own parents' house, it's still hard for me to go there and see my parents sitting inside on a nice summer day because they can't go outside and enjoy their own property. I can tell you that I personally looked up on the Indiana State website to see if Mr. Grounds' business is registered. It is not. I don't know where we're going to go with that if he needs to register, but I feel like if my parents are paying taxes, everybody else is paying taxes on properties. We're not using it for free. Excuse me. We're not using it for free. We're actually enjoying the property that, you know, our parents are taking care of. And if his heart's in Mooresville, then he should find a place in Mooresville, as he said he's trying to. But in the meantime, increasing his operations is just going to make it that much worse for the people who do live there. So if businesses are growing, are residents not able to grow as well? Even though that's a buffer, why can't residents live in that particular area of the neighborhood? Why can't we build houses around these farms? Why can't we live in a peaceful section like this without having agricultural type things of that nature happening on a daily basis? I grew up in Morgantown, Indiana. I know what agriculture is. This is a commercial business that's in the backyard of my parents' home. And quite frankly, if I have to hear about it all the time, so do you. He's very frustrated, and I know that there's been little to no effort to be made when it comes to the rock in the driveway. My father has reached out to them last year, the year before, I'm not really sure, I can't comment to that, to see if they could put rock down or something of that nature to help with the dust, and it fell on deaf ears. So I'm not really sure what needs to happen to either help him find a place in Mooresville, since that's where his heart's at, or if it means that he just needs to minimize his business instead of extending it further down the line to disrupt the rest of the residents that are in that neighborhood. So, as I said, my name is Kristen. I'm in opposition along with my father. I believe they are allowed to enjoy peace and quiet in their home without having to see all of this happening on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the board members? No? Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, I have 3 people signed up to speak as interested parties. Mr. Grounds, when you were up here speaking, nobody interrupted you, nobody made any comments, nobody did any grumbling from the audience. I expect you to do the same and have the same level of respect when somebody else is up here speaking, even though you may disagree with what they're saying. You're going to be given a chance to speak again. That's your opportunity to do it. Not from the cheap seats right now. You understand? Yep. All right. Gail Dowden? Don't want to speak. Thank you. Rick Dowden? Thank you. Abby Butts? Okay. All right. Did you want to speak, Abby? No? All right. Thank you very much. All right. So we've called on everyone that has signed up to speak this evening has been given an opportunity to speak whether they chose to do so or not. So at this time, I'll call back up Mr. Grounds. Mr. Grounds, this is your opportunity to come back up and address anything that you've heard. If you choose to do so, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But anything else that you'd like to add that you think is supports your request for the variance this evening?
Right, correct. So as far as the stone being added, I add stone several times. Like, I've already added it this year. They probably didn't see it because they're in Florida. But after snow removal is done, the driveway becomes muddy. My grandma parks her car in the garage there. So if there's any mud that is being brought in, she is on me to put new stone on there. So I don't have the exact date, but I had new stone spread. If you notice, it's pretty white stone. Stone don't stay that white by not being added to. As far as, going back to it being zoned agricultural and that diesel fuel wouldn't be used, I'm pretty sure a tractor, requires diesel fuel and would need diesel to run. If I had cattle in there, I'd have to have a tractor to deliver the hay to the field, to the pasture, which is what it used to be. When I was growing up, I'd clean this barn from the time I was 4 years old till I was 19 years old. I never missed a Sunday. I cleaned that barn out. I hauled manure every Sunday till I was 19 years old. It got spread in this field here. It can happen again. I have kids, and I was a 10-year 4-H member, and I promise you, I know where to put the pigs. So that's what I'm leaving this as.
Hang on. Come back up. Questions from the board members? No, I do.
Okay.
All right. So you're running.
I do have one more thing to say too. I apologize.
Oh, no. Please do.
The whole registered thing, I have been in business, this is my 24th year. I've paid taxes every year. If I'm not a registered business, how am I a licensed applicator through Purdue through the Indiana State Chemist? Would they give that to an unlicensed business? I employ 23 people. Work comp on that, like I got, I pay almost $10,000 a month in insurance and work comp. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't just allow anyone that's not registered to do that. So to that, I don't know what that was about. But anyway, I'm a legit business. I am a sole prop. I'm a sole proprietorship, you know, so I may not fall under the incorporated or whatever else may be. I don't know. It's neither here nor there, but just to defend myself on that, I am a legitimate company that I've poured my heart and soul into for the last 25 years. I'm sorry that it's been successful.
Hang on. I've got a few questions. So, as you mentioned earlier when you were asked by Mr. Maxwell, you never received zoning, any kind of zoning, you never made a zoning request to have the zoning change from ag to commercial back when you
No.
started this in 2009, correct?
No.
Okay. And you understand it's not the county or the city of Mooresville's duty to come to you and say, hey, you've got to be zoned properly before you can do anything, because
Correct.
you just flew under the radar. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So,
But with that same thing being said, agricultural and mowing kind of go hand in hand.
I brought that
So-
up, Mr. Grounds.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is I understand. You know, if I lived next to it, I'd be, I'm not saying I wouldn't want you there. I've lived next to a lot worse. But,
Right.
But I'd want you to be a good neighbor.
Yeah, and
And hang
I
on,
do
all
want you to be a
right?
good
It's
neighbor.
my turn. I waited here and heard you out. So I've got a question in here for, one of the things that was brought up is the dumpster unloading before 7 a.m. where they're dropping off the dumpster. Is that something you can coordinate so that it's not done till after 7?
I had no idea that it would ever happen. When it was raised trash, it was dumped at the same time every day, just like at my house. It was
Okay.
dumped at the same
But-
time.
but what I'm
when it
asking
was
is
bought by
is-
Waste Management.
Is that something you could make sure doesn't happen?
I can
if
definitely
you're allowed
request.
to go forward?
Yes, I can definitely request that.
Well, I mean, you own the business, you can tell them, hey, don't you either come after 7 or don't come, right?
Right,
I mean, you're been successful, you're growing your business.
yeah.
I'm sure you could put that down and they'd adhere to that. Yeah, I look at these on something like this, and I'll hold that until comment time here. All right, any other questions from the board members?
Let me make something, I probably should make it afterwards. I know his grandmother, I know his grandfather, I know his parents. I was involved in 4-H. My children showed sheep, he showed Suffolk sheep. It seems strange to me that you would, his grandfather ran an delivery business, sold fuel oil. He always had trucks there, diesel trucks. Now, I frankly think that the smell of that truck was probably worse, and certainly to my thinking, worse than a Suffolk sheep ever smelled. I live in the country. I have very few houses around me. Now, granted, we're getting more all the time and don't particularly like it. There's not much I can do about it. Buying a house with a barn on it that might make you think you might get some funny smells. I have contracted, along with somebody else on this board here, dumpster service, and you have daggone little opportunity to tell them when they're coming because they've got a route. And if you're in the, whatever time they come, they come. And doors do slam, though it's not that much of a noise. I doubt seriously I could tell if they were coming particularly 50 yards away, I wouldn't. We cut hay. We've got livestock. We've had some people move in that don't have that ability that I have to do that stuff. It strikes me as strange that seeing all this, and granted moving into a subdivision where you've got, I don't know how many houses are there, but they all cut grass. They all make noise. They've all got kids. They've all got cars going up and down the road. Maybe he hasn't done what he should have done as far as getting a Mooresville permit, but he doesn't live in Mooresville. This would have come to us. This board right here, what he's doing right now. This sounds a whole lot less noise than I make a lot of times on my farm. When you've got one or more tractors going, you've got chainsaws going, got lawnmowers going, weed whips going, engine running a log splitter for that matter in the winter here. This just seems to me, and you already know my existence with Mr. Grounds, I don't think he would ever do anything deliberately to make a lot of noise. Now, maybe not contacting the dumpster people, but that's once or twice a week at best, probably, or a month. I cannot picture somebody running a truck on his nickel all day long, just sitting there. Maybe he does, I don't know, I don't live next to him, but I can't picture that. I don't know if anybody's got a camera on my price. They probably couldn't see it to begin with because of the trees, but this does not sound based in the country. When you want to move in the country, we had hogs. I think they smell great. My family's raised them. We had a couple hundred head of ewes. They make a lot of noise, particularly when you go out there to feed them. I won't say it's perfect, but if you live next to Morgan County, I think you ought to expect some things that are not making as much noise as possibly your neighbors, with their lawnmowers, their kids, their cars, just the noise of living. I can't imagine living that close to anybody. It's just something I've never done. But your neighbors talking, people in the backyard. I don't find this quite as reprehensible as I've heard there. That's just my opinion. Granted, he can do some things to change it. If you've met his grandmother, she's very nice. His parents are very nice. His sister's very nice. So maybe I am a little prejudiced, you might think that, but living in the country, I don't see those noises as too excessive.
Any other questions from the board? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, so at this point, we don't allow anyone to speak anymore. That doesn't mean we won't ask somebody to come back up to the podium and ask them questions. So just a heads up on that. So what we have in front of us is a use variance request. In order for the board to grant this, we have to agree that the applicant meets 5 findings of facts. For the description of the request, the applicant has submitted that the applicant requests approval of a use variance to permit the operation of a landscaping and lawn care business at the subject property located in Morgan County, Indiana. Their proposed use is limited to business-related administrative activities and the parking and storage of landscaping and lawn care equipment, including trucks, trailers, and associated implements. No retail sales or customer walk-in traffic will occur at the property. Grounds Quality Lawn Care employs approximately 23 employees during the summer season and approximately 12 employees during the winter season. However, employee presence at the property will be limited and staggered. Normal business activity will occur Monday through Friday between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. In the event of a snowstorm or snow-related emergency, business operations may occur outside of these hours as necessary to provide snow removal services. The use will generate minimal traffic and will operate in a manner consistent with the public health, safety, and general welfare of the community. The proposed use is intended to remain low intensity and maintain the rural agricultural character of the area in accordance with the Morgan County zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan. Under section 2.1, the statement is made that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The applicant indicates that's true, and to support that, writes, no mixing, storage, or application of chemicals will occur at the property, and the proposed use will not result in environmental harm, pollution, or adverse impacts to surrounding land, water, or natural resources. Under section 2.2, the statement is made that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. And to support that, writes, assessed values of nearby properties have continued to remain stable and increase over time, demonstrating that similar land uses have not negatively impacted surrounding property values. Under 2.3, the statement is made that the need for the variance arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved. The applicant indicates that's a true statement and states that while ag zoning limits certain business uses by right, the acreage and layout of the parcel make it uniquely suited to accommodate this low-intensity landscaping and lawn care operation without adverse impacts. And under section 2.4, the statement is made that the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. To support that, writes, the business was established and operated during a period when the property was located within the Mooresville buffer zone and has been operating at or in connection with this location since approximately 2009 without complaints until September 2025. The applicant has made reasonable efforts to identify an alternate location for the business, but has been unable to locate a suitable property that would accommodate the operational needs of the business. Denial of the variance would prevent the continued reasonable use of the property. And lastly, under section 2.5, the statement is made that the approval does not interfere substantially with the county's comprehensive plan. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. And to support that, states the landscaping and lawn care business has operated in this general area since approximately 2009, and development has continued to occur in the surrounding area during this time. The applicant intends, when feasible, to purchase the subject property and establish a residential use on this site, ensuring that the property continues to be a commercial component consistent with long-term planning goals. For the technical reports on this application, the Health Department states they have no objections to the proposed use variance. The surveyor made no comment. And staff makes the comment that they support the petitioner's request for a use variance in addition to any conditions the board finds necessary for approval. So at this time, we're open for discussion on this application. Discussion from the board members?
Seems that when you have had a building and grounds group there since before anybody moved in, whether they got bigger or smaller or whatever. Should have had a rough idea of that. The same thing as if Mr. Chapello mentioned, if they wanted to get rid of Suffolk sheep and get rid of pigs, they certainly could have done that without coming here at all. It does not seem that when you move out in the country businesses like Mr. Grounds has can certainly do any worse than a farming operation or anything else. That's all I've got to say.
Any other discussion on this application?
Well, the findings of fact, yes, I think they're all true, but most importantly is when we took in the buffer zones, we did not want to cause a hardship for anyone that had already been approved by the city or were working within the city, and the city had no complaints against them. And so this was buffer zone, and now it's not, and it's counties. And if Mooresville didn't have any problem with them, I don't think we should either.
All right, any other discussion? My thought on it, I'm going to a little different tact on this. And I look at it, as I mentioned, there's a lot of things that if it was an agricultural use would create the same or could possibly create the same issues, if not even more extensively than what Mr. Grounds is creating by operating his business there. Nonetheless, not zoned for it. And we turned one down, as I understand this evening, because they were asking for something for a variance, and they wanted to do some things with it, the property, and the plan explicitly prohibits that. Part of me says, well, the person in here who has voiced their complaint should have known better when he moved in because it was already there. On the other hand, it's growing. Mr. Grounds admits that. I live down the road from here, guys. I drive by there all the time. I'm aware of the business and that myself. So my thought on it is we're being asked to approve something that shouldn't be there, right? That's what we do with everything that we hear in front of us. We're allowing or not allowing something that the county codes prohibit. But we're the Board of Zoning Appeals, so that's what we do. We hear appeals of this nature all the time, every month. I don't think it's unreasonable with Mr. Grounds expanding this business and growing it the way that he would like to require some type of screening along his property that would make it more compatible with the housing addition that's there. Although this resident has moved in 2019, Mr. Grounds moved in 2009, and I know that housing addition was there well before that. That would have been great had it been addressed previously before this issue came into our bailiwick, but it wasn't, and now it's up to us. My proposal would be, or what I would support for this would be to approve it with the condition that he screen between his business and the houses there. And I would recommend screening the area that's gravelled now, and any area that's going to be gravelled in the future would get that same screening. Now, I was back there today. I don't know if you got cameras in your buildings, and don't say whether you do or not, but I walked in to just let somebody know that I'm there so they didn't get concerned of an unknown truck on their property. But looking at the subdivision from Mr. Grounds' building, you've got rise in elevation going up to where the home's set. So if he puts something along the property line, it's really not going to screen it because it drops down from their yards to where I would assume the property line is now. My thought would be to screen, and I'm going to grab the pointer here. Well, I'll get the pointer here. Hold it the right way. All right, let me get back on the microphone here. My thought would be to screen the property somewhere in the area here, maybe halfway between the gravel parking lot and the property line. I think that would alleviate the elevation concern. I'll get to you, I promise I will. I'll get to you here in a second. I also heard Mr. Grounds say that his grandmother probably wouldn't support a fence being somewhere where she could look at it. And I understand that, but again, I look at these and say that a give and a get, when he's asking to do something that isn't allowed, asking him to do something like we required other businesses to do in screening, isn't unreasonable. And again, I'm not looking to screen down the entire property line here. I would look to screen from today, right where my pointer's at, down to right where my pointer's at now, because that's screening off his business to do so. I'm not looking to put something down the entire property line. So, and I'll come back to you here in a second. I just want to make sure I got all my notes here. As far as the dumpsters arriving, I dealt with dumpsters for 30 drugstores for 30 years, and they came in the hours we told them when they could, and they didn't when we didn't. So to me, that's a function of Mr. Grounds putting his foot down and saying, you come during these hours and you don't when you don't, or shouldn't be there. I think 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is reasonable, and I think he could find a dumpster company. It may not be the one he's got today, but he could find somebody that's agreeable to it. And I don't think, in my mind, that either of these are unreasonable conditions for approval of his request. Any discussion about that? Any thoughts, comments on that?
Well, my comment would be then, if a motion was made to approve screening of correct trees, and I'm certainly sure Mr. Grounds could find those, be them conifers or probably conifers. Lots of different dumpster companies, and I'm certainly sure that would not be a problem.
Bill, I should have been more clear on this. In my mind, I envision screening with like a privacy fence, quite frankly, because I think that would help with noise abatement. I think it would help with dust. I think it would help with sight. If he does conifers, having owned a Christmas tree farm for numerous years, it takes them a while to grow, and unfortunately, they die.
I can live with that easily. And it'd be instantaneous this winter.
Other discussion? Any other discussion from the board members? Mr. Grounds, if you had something you'd like to say or ask, please step up to the microphone.
The only thing I don't know exactly, but so obviously everyone else is on city sewer. My grandmother still has a finger system, and don't hold me to this, but I'm pretty sure right where the arrow is pointing now.
There you go.
Sorry. I'm pretty sure, and I remember this when I was a kid, we had to replace a finger here. And it's somewhere in this area where it ends.
Could you bring it in closer to the gravel then to offset from that?
Right, yeah,
I mean,
that's,
I'd rather it be closer to your building than closer to the property line because of the topography of the neighbor's land looking down into that.
right,
Quite frankly, is close, I'm trying to give you a little buffer there in
correct.
case your gravel needs to be expanded out to the north in the future, but it looks like you
Right.
got plenty of room to expand back to the east and a little bit
Yeah.
to the west. But if you came, I don't know, I hate to say, give you exact numbers because I'm not standing there with
Yeah.
a survey stake. But if you go 20 feet north of that gravel, that'd put you about where your laser's at. And if
Yeah.
that offsets from your septic tank, great. And if it doesn't, bring it in closer to the building.
Correct. Yeah, and like I said, I have no problem doing any of the above. I wanted that, before anything was, I guess, granted or requested, I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention that there may be something here with the finger system that would prohibit what could be done. So just bringing that to your attention now, rather than, it being an afterthought, so to speak. And I'm not 100% sure as to where this system is. But I do definitely know, like this, that's a well right there. That's a well. It's a separate well.
I'm not worried. My concern was it didn't have anything to do with anything to
No,
the west.
I understand. I was just letting you know that obviously because of this being where it's at, there is no city sewer or anything like that. So the finger system and the water is they're in there. So just bringing that to your attention. Thank you.
And while you're up here, and I'm not going to make this I wouldn't make this part of the motion, and I'm not suggesting it be, but when your neighbor's talking about your employees peeing out in your parking lot, I saw your porta-john there. If they peed on a yard where they're doing lawn care, you'd fire them on the spot.
Right,
wouldn't you?
and had I known, I didn't know
Okay,
about it
so-
until Miss Butts called today and told me the same thing, that, that would probably be brought up tonight. And I didn't know about that until now.
So-
Now that I know, I will definitely,
Very, very good.
I'm a decent human. I'm not trying to raise, or employ, people that are going to cause mischief. We are going, whether or not my business is there or not, we're going to be there. I mean, I've got boys. This is going to be in my family for as long as I have anything to do about it. So where everyone else will come and go, I'm going to be there forever.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Any other discussion amongst the board?
I guess my question would be, asking Laura, how high can this fence be without having to have another special anything going on? 6, 8 feet? What would the limits be?
So you can increase that height to what you think it needs to be for the screening. 8 feet would be typical for industrial areas.
Thank you.
I think if you put an 8-foot-high wooden privacy fence up, or some solid fence, if you wanted to do vinyl, even prettier, match up to what you already got on the corner back there with your grandma's house. But if he did something like that, I think that'd be a big enhancement to the neighbors behind him back there. Any other discussion?
Is he all right with this?
He said he was. You want to come back up and tell us otherwise?
Sorry. So the noise, if we're in from 7 to 7, and There is no pressure washing on the weekends. I'm trying to, in my mind, figure out why this is any different than a neighbor mowing their yard, doing a pressure washer, that sort of thing. Is it going to, I guess where I'm going with this is I think more of what would need to change would be me being told, you can't operate a pressure washer on the weekends. I'll be, now that I know that there's an issue, I want to, I want to remedy the issue.
Well,
And if noise is the issue, I want to, I myself, I will not have the noise go on. Now, I can't help when it snows and that sort of thing, but, during a snowstorm, I have to go there, but luckily, I don't know what a fence is going to do, I guess, is where I'm going with it.
You don't want this board to sit here and tell you everything you can and can't do and the hours you can and can't do it, do you? Or do you want to take it
just
upon
wanna have a
yourself
place
to be a
to run a business out
reasonable
of.
businessman who's asking us for a variance? We're imposing what I think are very minimal things, quite frankly,
Yeah.
from what we've imposed on some other business owners that I think would, from the way your neighbors have described it, would take care of a lot of the issues. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, they'd rather have you gone 100%, but I'm in favor of you staying there as long as you do this. And then beyond that, now that you've heard concerns from your neighbors about different things, we're not here to dictate how to be a good neighbor. We trust that you're going to be a good businessman, and now that you've heard concerns, are going to address those concerns and remedy those.
Yes.
I don't want to put further restrictions on him on, he can't do this, he can't sharpen a lawnmower blade. I'm going to assume that now that you've heard it, you've said you're a good business person, you're going to take it upon, and we've got nothing to show that you're not. Quite frankly, the reputation I've heard about you in the area has been nothing but positive. That's why I'm going to have to assume that you're going to continue to be that good businessman and do these things without us telling you you can and can't do this, that, and the other during these times.
Correct.
That's my comment.
My question is, from where he said a fence from the main part of your lot over covering on that one side, and that's it, are you willing to do that? Do you have any problem with that?
I myself, I do not have a problem with it. Like
Okay.
I said, there's a 94-year-old lady in there that might. And if she has a problem with it, and that's what it takes for me to stay there, and she won't allow me to do it, then obviously I got to go. Because at the end of the day, her years are short that are left on this earth. I don't want to be a problem to her. Even though there will be a day
Is her
when
house the front one there?
Yeah, sorry. She lives in this house right here.
Okay.
Now,
So really, where he's saying that fence, though, I don't think that's going to be of any,
well,
because she can see your lot still, she can
yeah,
still see that
so
direction.
she looks out, there's a window right here, that's her kitchen window. And this is why I have not been allowed to go anywhere over there because of her strict rule. If you notice, you run this a straight line across there. I haven't went any further than that. There's a reason why I haven't went any further than that. It's because her request, and it's her place.
But your stuff
I'm
is
a guest.
blocking that view anyways, as it stands right now. Your building, your equipment on the side. So from that direction, that fence won't make any difference to her, I wouldn't think.
I'm rooting for you. That's all. Yeah, so like I said, I'm lucky that she allows me to do what I do there. And I can't sit here in front of you and tell you that, yes, I will do that. I will bring it to her attention, and then if she tells me it can't happen there, we're gonna go, and everybody wins other than me. But that's the cards I'm dealt with. But once again, moving forward, there will be a day when I will own this, and I will be back in front of you guys to ask, can I build a barn back here, close to the Christian Academy? That's for another day.
Thank you. So again, my thought would be an 8-foot privacy fence constructed from the start of his gravel pad to the end of it, as close to the gravel pad as he could position it and still be able to function as business. And no dumpster deliveries or pickups between 7 PM and 7 AM. Fence is 8 feet high. He's got a lawn care, grounds care business. I would think 90 days, he'd be able to get a fence erected in that time period. March, April, it puts you into, gives you even in May, ground should be good enough to put up a fence then, if not before. That would be my,
That's your motion.
if I'm making it, and I'll be happy to make it. But I want to make sure we get discussion from everybody here.
I guess you don't have to necessarily get up, Mr. Grounds. I've never called on that before. How far is it from that east line where you would see the field to screen everything that we ask for there? Which, 100 feet, 200 feet?
Let's see, the barn is 30 foot wide to kind of put it to scale.
Yeah.
So we're probably looking.
No, come, bring it back. Bring it, no, I mean, bring it back to the east.
Move it back, keep moving it back.
Keep
Holler
coming
wind,
back.
John. Keep moving it back to
coming
the
back.
east. Whoa,
Go a
right
little-
there.
No, go further out. See where the cars are parked facing north and south? All right, bring it to the grass line of that, but up. Yeah, there we go. So roughly 130 feet-ish. If you expand it, expand your fence. Pretty simple. Sorry, Jason, did I step on you there? Didn't mean to. Okay, all right. Any other discussion from the board?
Done.
Sounds good to me.
All right, barring any other discussion, I'm going to make a motion. I make a motion that based on the findings of facts that the applicant submitted in his application and spoke to orally tonight, that we approve petition U-26-02 with the following conditions. One, that a 8-foot-tall solid privacy fence is constructed from the east border of his gravel lot to the west border of his gravel lot, and that it be placed as close to the gravel lot as possible, and that no dumpsters are received or picked up from his property between the hours of 7 PM and 7 AM. Do I have a second to my motion?
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. It is approved with those conditions, Mr. Brown. Good luck. All right, our next item on the agenda this evening is public hearing for special exception petition, SE-26-01. Susan Murphy is requesting a special exception use to operate a dog rescue kennel in an ag zone district. The property is located at 6308 East Spring Lake Road in Madison Township. For this application this evening, I have Susan Murphy signed up as the applicant and in support, and I have one person signed up in opposition to this application. So, Susan Murphy.
Good evening, I'm Susan Murphy. I reside at 6308 East Spring Lake Road, Mooresville. I am requesting this. I have been an animal lover all my life, and retired in 23, and prior to that, starting in 2015, I started volunteering at various animal shelters. And through that experience, I'm actually have volunteered at 3 different animal shelters, and through that experience, I realized that there is a lot more than an individual can do to help both the animals and the people who love them, and sometimes have to surrender them to shelters. So through my experience, I decided after my retirement that I wanted to open a very small, because it's going to be primarily me and my husband running this, animal sanctuary, but it really, it technically is not a rescue because I am not going to actually be the person who brings the animals in and then adopts them out. My goal is to actually support local rescues and shelters. So after my retirement, starting in early in 2024, I took a course from Best Friends Animal Society on how to start an animal sanctuary. That included, coursework, online coursework every week, and then in May, finishing up that coursework, I went to Best Friends Animal Society out in Utah and completed that training. So I, learned all sorts of things like how to start a 501(c), how to care for animals, how to house them, how to properly, care for them. Oh, I'm sorry. So anyway, so that is what I'm doing. That is what my goal is. We have almost 19 acres, and when we looked at possible sites for the building that would house the animals, there were actually a number of sites that it would have actually worked better than the one we chose. Flatter, easier to clear, probably much easier to use in excavating, but we chose an area that is more centrally located, trying to make sure that if there was any noise from barking, that it would be as far away from the surrounding homes as possible. And so that's where if you see that's really small. But anyway, so actually, in 2024, after I got home from Utah, I began clearing the area. If you see that, where's the pointer?
Oh, sorry, somehow I've got it up here.
How do you work it? Just point, press. Okay.
Flip the other way around.
I'm highlighting me. So this right here we referred to on the property as our pine forest. A lot of those trees are actually dying now, and that really flat area would have been probably the most ideal place to put it. But what we chose was just about on the other side of the driveway, right about here, is where the building would be. So anyway, the one of the handouts that you guys had shows how far each of the homes are. And I think the smallest one is about 700 feet away. And then everything else is a little bit further than that. Most of the residences, I would have to say, also have dogs because we can hear them. There's a cattle farm to the west of us, which you hear the cattle. So I've basically chosen a site, and the way the sanctuary is going to be conducted is that I would do my best to mitigate any type of noise that would be if you had a large volume of dogs outdoors all the time.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
I don't think so.
Couple questions. 8 dogs,
Yes.
max?
So, yes, well, I mean, I have dogs now, but they're
Okay, we won't count
getting
that.
older.
Now, where do you get these dogs? I mean, we have an active
Okay.
dog pound here in this area.
Okay, so right now I am a volunteer at Indianapolis Animal Care Services, which is a very large municipal shelter. they actually have a number of rescues that work with them. And so that sometimes those animals I would be fostering through the rescue, but a large number of them are pulled from Indianapolis Animal Care Services. I used to be a volunteer at Morgan County. I'm not really sure if they are at the level of need that, that Indianapolis is. So the idea would be, for instance, if, I'll just do the example, Leanne's rescue that's in Greenwood. They sometimes, if there is an animal that's at risk of euthanasia, they will pull that animal and then they will seek a foster home for that animal. And then working with the rescue, they do some extra training, maybe either through a professional trainer, even myself as I gained some knowledge, and then work to get that animal adopted into a home. The other opportunity or option is a thing called emergency fostering, which is sometimes people approach a shelter and they, well, as a very good example at Brown County, there was a gentleman who had been diagnosed with throat cancer. He was going to have a surgery, and his recovery is going to be very challenging, and he wasn't going to be able to care for his dog. So the dog was surrendered to the shelter, but that's like the worst thing ever, right? You lose your family member because you have a health problem, and if someone could foster that animal for a very short time, then that animal could be reunited with their family. So that's another opportunity that I would take on in the sanctuary. I think I also put in there that the goal, I mean, it's a pretty big building for 8 dogs, wouldn't you think? Almost 1,500 square feet, but each of the areas that each dog would be kept in would be trying to replicate more of what a home would be, what a bedroom would be, and then there's going to be a large play area and a central area. So it's not like a typical animal shelter in both the number and the scope of what would be offered to them.
Everything will be spayed or neutered?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I also put in there, you know, the vaccination and up to date on those types of things. I also, we currently have 3 walker hounds or coon hounds that are they're very good at escaping and not wanting to come back. And we actually had to make literally like a 2-door system around we keep them in, they're in the house, but they're also in what we call the mud room. And we have a fencing around that goes out to their run because we early on had problems with them. And the minute they get out, we're out chasing after them because, you know, what do you do if you care about your animals?
Information, what's a coyote role?
If you have the top of the fencing, it's like a roll, it's like a bar that goes on that so that, and honestly, they do it for both so coyotes can't get inside of fencing, but it's also that if an animal tries to jump over the fence, they fall back. They can't grab onto it.
So in your drawing of your building that you submitted to us here, it shows the building, and you mentioned outside runs. Can you go into more detail on that?
So each, I think they're like 8 feet wide on one side and 6 on the other, but they would be about 20 feet out and 8 feet wide. So they're really, the goal of that is for, to be able to open the door and let the dog go out and go potty and then come back in. So they're not going to be, you know, for hours at end in those outdoor areas. We you know, we have a lot of trails, we're able to walk them. We ultimately may build a larger, like, kind of like a dog park area where wouldn't let all 8 dogs out because that's just not feasibly possible oftentimes with dogs. You might have a couple of dogs that can play together, but, so we, those runs are basically for them to go out, use the restroom, and come back in.
Will they be concrete?
No, no. You mean no.
Runs outside.
No, grass. Well, dogs like to
So
dig.
they can
but
dig
I mean,
under
as
them.
best as you can, keep it grass.
How do you keep them from digging under it?
Well, they're not going to be there for a long time, and you're right, they can dig under, but if you monitor the runs periodically, I'm not really ever I mean, our dogs that are in our runs right now have never, they dig, they definitely do, but they've never been that good that they've gotten out that way. We did have one that went over our fence, and then we had to build another type of fencing to keep her in. For some reason, she decides she likes deer.
I have a question for you. How long, what amount of time do you feel that you're going to have these 8 dogs outside per day?
Well, so I would envision like a usual day to, just like anybody would with their normal pet, you'd get up in the morning and you would go let them out to go to the bathroom, you know, probably 30 minutes maybe at the most, and then they would be brought in, they would be fed, do things that are called enrichment, and then maybe go for walks, take them in individual walks. I do believe that Morgan County has a noise ordinance, and I'm pretty sure the hours are like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I mean, I'll be honest with you, as a homeowner with pets, my in-laws are in Cincinnati, and on like holidays and things, we've come home later and we've let our dogs out. But it's usually to go to the bathroom and get their food ready and come back in. They are not, well, that's not, I mean, people used to chain their dogs out all the time. That is not the value system that people have with their pets anymore. So.
Other questions from the board members? No? Thank you. All right, I have one person signed up in opposition, and that is John, is it Greider? Greider? Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Greider, 6259 East Knightsville Road, Mooresville, just outside the buffer zone. We've lived there 46 years this coming September. We've got 37 acres. My property is adjacent to Susan's property, her south property line. My north or south line runs with hers. Let's see, hers is right here, right here. That's that's the property line, and that's my house right there. That's barn right there. We have horses and two dogs. And one of the reasons why I'm against this is, damn phone. My wife and I can't keep our windows open in the summertime because of this. And I don't know what kind of dogs those are, but that's very annoying when you can't keep your doors and windows open. And you know, enjoy the breeze and the bugs, what have you. So I am against her dog, whatever she's going to do back here.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, they're pretty quiet, other than her dogs.
Any questions from the board? Mr.
You know,
Greider? Nope. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Susan, can you come back up to the microphone, please? It's our procedure that we give the applicant a chance to address the board again after someone has spoken in either opposition to or as a concerned or interested citizen on this. Is there anything that you would like to add now that we've heard from Mr. Greider?
So I don't disagree that that's probably our Gus, who has an amazing opera singer as a hound dog. He is loud. I will be the first to tell you that. But the number of, I wouldn't even say hours, minutes in a day that you would hear that is, I mean, I guess if he was suggesting that that was all day long, it's not. We don't leave our dogs out like that. And honestly, I'm really quite surprised because my understanding is they're animal lovers or dog lovers. In fact, they have 2 cattle dogs that you can hear. I can hear them sometimes, and I can hear a lot of my neighbors' dogs. We're in the country, people have pets and dogs. Like I said, you can hear the cattle farm, you can hear the cattle, and there's a lot of them. So I can honestly tell you that the amount of hours in a day, it wouldn't even be an hour that they were out. I mean, they're just not out that much.
You put a pretty comprehensive map out here about how far it is to all your neighbors. Would you show me on this how far you are from the gentleman's house? I've got a map right here. You could point this out to us.
You provided me something that showed all the numbers. Yeah. Yeah.
928 feet.
That shows 928 feet, as I understand it, from looking at Mr. Greider's house, but that's from her current residence.
Yeah, in currently, I mean, what he heard is, the run goes in their direction. It's right about our current run.
Can you talk into the microphone?
Sorry, our current run, roughly the back of our house with the exception of that extension, and then the run goes back. So, those dogs would be closer to his property than the sanctuary would be, by far. And, I mean, I don't know, I know that when the wind blows a certain way, you can hear the cattle a lot more. So I don't know because the dogs they go to the back of the fence a lot of times because it's wooded and maybe there's more smells back there, or the deer walk back behind there all the time. So I could see how you would hear the dogs a lot, but that's our personal dogs that are really much more closer. And once again, everybody around there has dogs, and we hear each other's dogs. I hear his dogs.
How are you going to fund this?
Pretty much, we've been blessed, my husband and I, in terms of our careers and, yeah.
But it is going to be ran as a non-for-profit, is that correct?
Yes, but, I mean, the whole setup of it is going to be, the property is going to be maintained as ours, and the shelter or the sanctuary will be what's within it, I guess, that's going to be the setup. Yeah.
Any other questions from the board members?
In the wooded area there, it looks like that would stop a lot of the sound from traveling north, or I guess it's north.
Yeah, well, and in our, like our house is, that, the house would almost serve as a buffer to their property too.
But the dogs are in a wooded area, right?
Oh, yeah,
Would knock some of the sound down.
yeah.
Other questions from the board members?
I guess just one question. What would you end up doing if you had a real barker? And you probably had that. Do you have any way of mitigating that?
Well, I mean, if I had, I mean, Gus is our real barker, actually, and I'll be honest with you, we're probably not going to get, our hound dogs are about 10 years old, we're probably not going to get a lot of hound dogs. But if I had a real barker and that was a problem, I mean, first I would really want him to let me know that that's bothering him. I haven't to date known that that was bothering him. But I would probably just have to just take him for a walk. I mean, if they can't be out without barking loudly, and just the same sort of thing, if there are dogs that have any sort of challenges, it is up to me, both for my neighbors, but for the dog themselves, to make sure that I mitigate any problems a dog has. So I would probably have to just walk them and not leave them out for any time.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board members? No? Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Okay, so we have an application for a special exception petition. In order for the board to grant this, we have to agree that the applicant meets 6 findings of facts. Under her description for the request, she's written, Moose and Maggie's Lodge will be a small canine animal sanctuary. The facility will provide services including fostering for local animal rescues, respite care for local shelter animals, and for some a true sanctuary to live their remaining days. The 30 by 48-foot structure will be designed to comfortably house 8 dogs, along with space for storage, feeding, grooming, veterinary care, and an indoor play area. The facility will utilize a utility sink, walk-in shower, and standard bathroom toilet for cleaning, grooming, and restroom, respectively. Fenced outdoor runs will be associated with each animal's living space. These should not be considered indoor-outdoor kennels, as I will be using standard exterior doors. Fencing will be designed to mitigate animal escape and resultant running at large. Initially, the non-for-profit business will be staffed by myself and my husband. There is a potential we will at times contract a caregiver to care for the animals when we are away, for example, vacation. In the future, I will entertain the idea of volunteer participation. Access to the facility will be via our property's current driveway. The structure will be located centrally on the property to negate its impact on neighbors' properties. For findings of facts, 2.1 makes a statement that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special exception will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. To support that, as written, Dogs housed at Moose and Maggie's Lodge will be spayed/neutered, or plans will be in place to accomplish sterilization as soon as possible. Animals will be up to date on recommended vaccines. Animal waste will be properly disposed of. Dogs will be on leash unless completely trained in recall commands or in fenced-in enclosures. Fencing will include 6-foot fencing to include coyote rollers if needed, and double gate system, the airlock, will be utilized to prevent animal escape and running at large. All dogs will have ID tags and be microchipped. Under Section 2.2, the statement is a special exception will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted. Again, the applicant indicates that's a true statement, and in support of that, has written, nuisance noise will be mitigated by central location on a facility on property, dogs in outdoor runs intermittently during the hours of 6 a.m. And 10 p.m. with only rare exceptions. Section 2.3 says, the establishment of the special exception will not impede or substantially alter the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. Again, the applicant indicates that's a true statement. And to support that, writes, as mentioned above, the facility's central location on the property plans for nuisance noise mitigation and prevention of dogs running at large should serve to not impede or substantially alter the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property. Under Section 2.4, the statement is adequate utilities, access road, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. To support that, writes the facility will be served by Hill Water Company and AES Indiana. Professional septic and excavation services will be provided by qualified subcontractors. As mentioned previously, the driveway to the current residence will be utilized for the facility. The structure will be located within 20 feet of the existing driveway. Section 2.5 makes a statement, adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designated as to minimize traffic congestion on the public roadways. The applicant indicates that's a true statement. Support that is written. As mentioned previously, the facility will use an existing driveway for ingress and egress. We do not anticipate much increase in traffic based on the business description and small scale of operation. Under 2.6, the statement is a special exception will be located in a district where such use is permitted, and all of the requirements set forth in this UDO that are applicable to such use will be met. And they indicate that's a true statement. Supporting that, they have written the property on which Moose and Maggie's Lodge will be constructed is zoned agricultural district. Under the Morgan County Unified Development Ordinance, a special exception use includes kennel, public, and private. The Health Department says they have no objection to the proposed special exception. Surveyor makes no comment. Staff believes that the petitioner has the ability to address all the special exception requirements and recommends approval in addition to any conditions that may be imposed by the board. So we are open for discussion on this application. Any discussion?
I have none.
Any discussion from the board?
I just want to say thank you to whoever did the distances from where this is going to be, because that is very handy to have. And maybe remember that in the future for other things, to do that.
Opened the can of worms, didn't they? I agree. I think that was a big help in looking at this. Again, when I went out today and looked at the property, and you can't really get a feel for it unless you drive all the way back to the lane and I chose not to do that. I think the applicant's placement of the structure was done, as she stated, with the intent of mitigating any noise, excessive noise to the neighbors. It looks like she has done her homework and taken the appropriate classes to understand what needs to be done, and I would support this if a motion's made to approve. Not the right time for it, but I'll give you an opportunity in just a minute, okay? All right. Any other discussion? All right, Mr. Greider. So at the beginning of the meeting, I stated that the board isn't here to answer questions. That being said, if you'll step up to the microphone. Well, that's fine. In the spirit of that we like to try and work with everybody when we can, we're going to hear your question. I can't promise you an answer.
I wouldn't have.
Hang on a minute.
Okay.
Hang on. But I need you to start out by giving me your name and your address again.
John Greider, 6259 East Neitzel Road, Mooresville, Indiana.
Thank you. Go ahead with your question, Mr. Greider.
I wasn't aware that that ground, you could build a commercial building on it.
It's as I understand it, it's an allowed exception within the county's ordinance for that.
When did they change that? When I moved down here, it wasn't that way.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Any other discussion from the board? Barring none, open for a motion.
I move that we approve the request made by Susan Murphy in petition for SE 26-01 for a special exception to use to allow a dog rescue kennel to be established in the ag zoning district, providing that all facts have been stated true.
Thank you. Do I have a second to that motion?
Jason Maxwell seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. All in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. 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 It is approved. Thank you very much, ma'am. Good luck to you. Mr. Peden, next item on the agenda is staff reports. Mr. Peden, do we have a BZA attorney report this evening? No, sir. Thank you. Ms. Parker, do we have a plan director report this evening? So next meeting is March 23rd, 2026. We have nothing else on the agenda, so I'll open for a motion to adjourn. Second? Thank you. All in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye. 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 Thank you. We're adjourned.